So we're starting off with operational awareness. So this is really understanding your own organization. We talk about the importance of identifying the key critical assets. What makes that organization successful? What must be kept up and operating at all times? Very often those in the technical realm look and understand their own technical function, maintaining certain servers, maintaining certain systems, protecting from the incident management perspective those systems. But really, how does what they're doing tie into the overall business of the organization? You need to understand what the actual business mission is, what the operations of an organization. If an incident management capability doesn't understand its parent company or its constituency, those that they may be providing incident management service to, they're not going to be able to react properly, prioritize incidents, and maybe come up with the right response course of action. So it is important to get that feel and understanding of your organization's business mission and what supports that business mission, the various critical assets, the data that are on those assets, and also any of the business processes, facilities, or information technology that supports those assets and the business mission. Very important. Also, this will help us understand what we care about and what we don't care about. So when we think about that operational awareness, it can even be down to, and of course for incident management capability, incident management team, I'm not saying anything that you wouldn't that's obvious. If you're going to be doing incident management for an organization, certainly you're going to want to understand, well, what type of systems am I supporting? Am I supporting Unix systems? Am I supporting Apple systems or Mac systems? Am I supporting iOS devices? Am I supporting mobile computing? What is it that I actually have to worry about? And then, for example, the example that's on this slide, it says an organization that uses iOS devices would prioritize a vulnerability in Android lower than they would a vulnerability in iOS. Well, certainly, if they're using iOS devices, if they're using iOS phones, then a vulnerability in Android is probably not critical to them, unless they have some home users that might be using that, or some of their staff have their own personal phone that has access to their data. But again, understanding the organization, its business mission, and the assets, and then the technology to support that access can help you identify which risks and threats you have to worry about. You may come across many different things. You may get all types of vulnerability reports. But if you don't have the software or hardware that has those vulnerabilities, then those are not relevant to you. There are also organizational issues that's part of that operational awareness picture. And that is, are there major changes that you need to be aware of that might impact dangers to the organization or threats to the organization? So are there mergers or acquisitions of other companies? Do they have the same data protections in place that you do in your organization? If not, what type of threats or risks now are you being exposed to through their merging into your own operations and possibly your network? If there are employee layoffs and terminations coming, is this something, and that's also a sensitive issue, you may not know about that, but if that's something that is known, then watching for IT sabotage, watching for any type of intellectual property theft, this can heighten our awareness of the types of threats that may be coming that are related to specific actions that are happening within the organization itself. Same with any type of legal issues. Are there particular type of compliance that your organization has to meet? Are there reporting requirements? Are there issues in how you protect information? And so therefore, if certain types of information are released in an unauthorized fashion, then they need to be addressed and handled. That needs to be addressed and handled to meet the legal compliance. And there may be other legal issues. They may even be related to service level agreements that your organization has with third-party vendors or with a constituency itself that are going to require that you handle information in a certain way or require that you perform in a certain time frame. So lots of different organizational issues that can impact not only the threats to your organization and the risk to your organization, but also how your incident management function actually operates. Another element that was on the non-technical list was awareness of competitors and adversaries. So it's really thinking about who might be actors that could cause harm to your organization. It's interesting to put competitors and adversaries in the same line because of the fact that for commercial organizations, it could be that their competitors, others who perform have the same business mission, others who produce the same products, might be looking to gain an advantage somehow by any type of industrial espionage or theft of intellectual property, maybe actually stealing customers, getting people to come and work for them and bring with them ideas or information about how your organization functions. So again, what are the threats? It almost ties into, in some of the things we're looking at here, a risk assessment. What type of risks and threats are out there? And it can be that there are adversaries. It might be, if you're a government organization, there may be some elements within your country who don't like your policies, and so maybe performing acts of protest or even acts of terrorism against your organization and its critical assets. It could be nation states performing national security espionage. So again, identifying, number one, who those competitors and adversaries are, and thinking about what are the targets, how could they hurt you, and how does that fit into your critical assets that you're trying to protect, and how might that damage hurt, and the methods that they use to actually execute that damage or perpetrate that damage, how would that fit into what you need to look for? What type of malicious activity, what type of tools and exploits they might be using, and then how that might be manifested or detected on your network or systems. What type of defenses that you might need. Another element, the non-technical element, is even awareness of your actual environment. Thinking about not just the global environment, but things that are happening locally. Are there floods? Are there tornadoes? Will that impact the operation of your organization? And in turn, will that impact your incident management function? Very often we've seen that when there are disasters and there's a business continuity plan, the incident management function and group is not really included. They're not the ones that go to the backup site. So if there are environmental factors and issues, how might someone take advantage of that to increase their ability to execute malicious activity against your organization? So it also can affect in just the normal let's see, resources is a word maybe I'll use, that keep your organization up and running. For example, one organization we knew had a problem with a water main break that caused the water level in their building to be so low that the air conditioning system was no longer able to run. Because that was not able to run, their server room was generating so much heat that it could have damaged the equipment, the servers, and the data on those servers. And so they had to shut down the servers, and they had to send the people home because they could not operate. So again, thinking about how all those different elements of the environment might impact you. Even for the fact that you may not have the right personnel to perform their tasks if there are other environmental factors. If there's bad weather or bad snow, icy roads, and staff may not be able to get to work. If power is out and they cannot remotely connect from home. So again, these can impact how you might do the work for the incident management, but also are things to think about as you're planning your processes, your backup, your surge support, and those types of issues. But understanding what may be happening environmentally on a day-to-day basis and how it might impact any other activities that you might encounter. And also from the non-technical side, it's really what is going on in the media. And this is not just what is being reported as far as news, but could be crimes, it could be other attacks that are being reported. So often in a security operations center, you may see that there's one or two monitors that are set for some news channels or news feeds to keep up with any breaking information. This can tie into many different areas, even if it's another part of the world that doesn't affect you, even if the threats that are being talked about aren't relevant to you, you may still have to deal with them. You may get questions from management. Is this something that impacts us? You may get calls from constituent members. So you have to be ready to tell people, does this affect me or doesn't this affect me? Do I need to worry about this or not? Also, you can, the media looks and ties into kind of your public persona, your public reputation, how the organization is viewed externally. So you can see how people talk about the organization. That may impact how you actually talk about information. If you've had, for example, a breach that's been made public, you may have to be careful about the response steps that you take, who you tell, and how you frame any response that you have. And also, sometimes you may be able to identify some threats from competitors or some threats from the adversaries that we talked about before. Along with the media, we really need to think about what's happening politically and socially. So that may also tie into when we talked about kind of that operational awareness, and we looked at organizational issues like layoffs or mergers, but also it can tie into what else is happening in your local area. For example, if a large conference is being held that might be a target for attack, how might your organization suffer any collateral damage? Maybe you're working close by where there might be protests. We've seen that with, there was a conference where the World Bank was situated, and the organizations around them were also watching about the traffic in their own networks to see if anyone was trying to use resources, compromise systems, and use them to attack the conference venue or the conference venue's systems or the hotel supporting the conferences. So you want to think about those type of activities that are occurring, and the media can help you identify any events that may be happening in your local area. Also, there can often be phishing emails and social engineering attempts to get people to, if there's to go to bad URLs, to go to malicious sites. And we especially see this when there are disasters around the world. People might send out emails saying, oh, look at these pictures, or contribute money to this cause. And actually, those are fraudulent, and they're looking to possibly capture credentials, capture access to banking resources, or be able to have you download, without your knowledge, malicious code on your system that they could leverage for access into your organization's infrastructure, systems and networks. So a lot of different things that we need to be aware of. So situational awareness becomes much broader when we look at all the non-technical elements that come into play.